Israel has agreed to allow daily fuel deliveries through its blockade of Gaza for humanitarian purposes after a request from its chief ally, Washington. That's according to officials in both governments who spoke to Reuters anonymously. Separately, the Israeli Defense Ministry announced Friday that there would be no limits on aid shipments from the United Nations, a possible signal that Israel is bowing to some international pressure over the conditions in the war for civilians. These were Palestinians trying to get food in Khan Yunis, near the border with Egypt, where foreign aid is supposed to transit through. The United Nations warns that starvation has become a, quote, immediate possibility, and that it had to suspend aid shipments for at least 2 days due to lack of fuel. This woman is saying, what's happened to us? There's no water, no electricity. We're sleeping on the floor and our children are suffering. Trash and raw sewage are everywhere. The Israeli officials said the fuel deliveries would be mostly to meet the needs of United Nations aid workers, but that minimal supplies would go to sewage and sanitary systems. The American official said some fuel would also go to powering cell phone networks that have been forced to run on generators.
קבינט ניהול המלחמה, הדרג המדיני, נענה לבקשה מיוחדת.
The War Management Cabinet responded to a special request from the US to provide 2 tankers a day for the wastewater treatment facilities in the Gaza Strip, which are facing collapse due to the lack of electricity and the lack of the ability to operate the sewage and water systems. The decision was that we want to prevent the spread of epidemics. We do not currently need epidemics that will harm the civilians there and also our fighters there. If there are epidemics, the fighting will stop. For many weeks, we faced immense international pressures to reach a ceasefire and humanitarian pauses, all without the release of the hostages, and the Prime Minister instead, both in his conversations with President Biden and with all the leaders and around him, all the cabinet members, are united that this is not possible. That is why we are on the 42nd day of fighting, and we did not agree to order the IDF soldiers to stop the progress to achieve the goals, even for a minute. The main rule is, when we know that hostages can be released, not a manipulative release and not a release for the purposes of Hamas, we are. Only when a large number of our hostages are released will we agree to a ceasefire, which will be limited and short because we will then continue towards achieving our battle goals. What has happened to us? There is no water, no electricity, sleeping on the floor, and our children are suffering. What more can I tell you than that? And we are tired, and we say God is our Savior and the disposer of our affairs. Everything is lacking. The fuel, the bakeries are gone, and the electricity and the fire cookers torment. Our life is torment. We heard about 1948 and today we lived it. Fuel is the basis of life. There is rubbish in the streets and sicknesses have spread. And what more can I tell you than that? You can see there is no fuel, no electricity, no water. All life has stopped. The sewers have stopped working. There is no fuel. The rubbish is overflowing everywhere. The bakeries have stopped. All life has stopped. You can say there is only 15% left of our lives. You meet people making fire to cook, collecting firewood. Some people will make do with an old gas stove. There is no life without fuel. It's a disaster, a humanitarian disaster. All ways of life have stopped. There is no net, no communications, no mobiles, no messages. We can't charge our mobiles, no electricity, no drinking water, no money. All of this was cut off with the war. This is 2023 and we are living the worst life, but the Lord is with us, thank God, and He will give us victory. And then there's a thing, we are cut off from the world. No one's really with us, the Palestinian people. I'll tell you about the hygiene. There's garbage where the people are, there's no companies cleaning, there's no good life, there's no fuel at all, we don't see it. I bought a liter of solo for 30 shekels, it's not right. At first everything was available, but now there is nothing. There is no fuel. All our work is now manual. We are moving using horse-drawn carts. The cars that used to transport 90% of the goods are now parked. All our work has now become with our hands and using horses. The cars have all stopped. For anything to function, you need fuel, and there is no fuel. How can the car move? If we stay like this, it will not only bring diseases, it will kill people. Diseases increase because of the trash. Before this was a clean place, now nowhere is clean. If you go into this area, you will find a disgusting smell. You can smell the trash in your neighbor's home. People will get sick. 2 days ago, a woman died in her place. We were displaced here, and now we are dying here with the trash. Trash causes diseases. I am a woman who came from an area in the south and our home was destroyed and we came here to the school in the mosque and no gas or anything was provided to us and the situation is very hard. Now I am preparing food for the children on the fire and no support has reached us. God help us, there is no gas or anything. The situation is very hard and getting worse. When I cook on a fire, it affects me because I have a sensitivity in my chest, so the smoke and everything affects me, and cooking like this is longer. But when we have gas, it takes only 25 minutes. But with this, it's an hour and even longer. And look at all this dirt and the smoke, look at the sand and the damage from the shelling and the bombed mosque. This is not a place. We are forced to cook here. We could get ill at any moment. The school it's full of diseases. We are forced to make the fire like this to give them a mouthful of food.
فما فيش يعني اصلا مضطرين نعمل على النار عشان نطعم اولادنا عشان نوفر لهم لقمه العيش. منصورين